Do you think that women, along with the perspective that we talked about, also are more helpful in negotiations and bringing parties together?
Well, that's one of the things that guys don't like to hear. But yeah.
Right.
Part of it, the fun part of any of this stuff is trying to figure out how to reach a conclusion. And President Clinton had appointed me as ambassador to the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and sitting down with the Order of Islamic States and getting them to negotiate with Israel, which Israel is not a member of the UN, and it was an observer, but where we could finally get anti-Semitism condemned in a UN document. That happened in 1994 or so, right around there. And then and then Madeline did it here at the UN itself, but we did it in Geneva. And you approach things a little bit differently. The Steven Spielberg film, I think it was '94, had just come out.
Which film? Which film?
The one about the Holocaust.
Oh yes.
Schindler's List. And what had happened was it really wasn't out yet. And the ambassador was flying, the permanent representative was flying to Los Angeles, and he was going to see Spielberg. And I said, could you ask him if I could borrow a copy of that to show? Yeah, to show. It was going to be released in Europe. And I said, I just want to show it at the UN. And the reason I do is because I want to tell these other ambassadors why this is important and how destructive anti-Semitism is. And what we did was he got the film, and I invited the ambassadors and their wives.
Right. I'm sure it was successful.
Well, it was.
I'm sure it was.
I mean, we ended up, when it was all over, and I said, tomorrow we're going to have a vote on this thing. Please take a look. This is the type of thing we want to avoid.
Right.
And in the future. And I got to tell you something, the number of ambassadors who showed up for that film, the number of wives who were there, and the vote the next day was amazing. So, it was a different approach. Would a guy approach it the same way I did? I don't know. But it's a different way.
They hadn't yet.
Yeah.
Until you came in.
So it was a different way to do it. And that's, that's utilizing different ways to achieve a goal that you think is worthy.